Hey everybody, welcome back to Video Game Esoteric series on the MiSTer FPGA DE10 Nano project, more specifically in this instance both the MiSTer Pi and the SuperStation One, because I know every time there's updates on either of these products, you guys are definitely interested in hearing what's new, when restocks are going to happen, what the new UI is going to look like, and everything else. So that's what we're going to be doing today, because Taki Udon's put up a batch of new information both on the SuperStation One, the MiSTer Pi, as well as when you can order some of these things again. In last video I gave you guys a heads up that ordering was coming, and I know a lot of you in the comments were able to secure a MiSTer Pi, and that is awesome because I want everyone to get into the MiSTer FPGA ecosystem however they can. So the more users, the more fun, the more cores, the better MiSTer. Before I get too far involved though, do me a huge favor, go down below, hit like and subscribe, and ring that notification bell. Definitely helps us out. And if you feel so inclined and want to support the channel, I got a Patreon link down below as well. We're going to be talking about the UI updates as well as the SuperStation One design updates on the case and functionality and everything else in between, because there's a lot to go over and I know you guys are always interested. And I know April 25th has passed by, but the people that were in my comments that were looking for a Pi were able to get them, so I want to give you the next date in a few minutes. Make sure you set a reminder for yourself because a few people missed out just because they completely forgot about it. But Taki Udon and Remake have updated a lot on the overall UI. We're going to go over some of the different looks because I definitely like them, and it's going to be really interesting to see MiSTer FPGA with a different user interface. But right off the top, I would say Taki Udon, or whoever actually stocked this thing with games, has great taste in PlayStation 1 games, because every single game on this list right here is definitely a banger as far as PlayStation 1 is concerned. But I love the simplicity of the UI, getting a little bit of box art in there, telling you what console you're using, how many games you have installed, and how to just search. It really is clean and nice, and I can't wait to see more of this. And as far as getting a MiSTer Pi, if you don't have one yet, it looks like around May 16th is going to be when this stock comes online on the Retro Remake store, so definitely set yourself a reminder. And this is going to have the soldered on SD RAM versus the RAM you install yourself. And if you're not familiar with that, one company already did it on the clone market, and that is QM Tech. They actually solder the RAM to the underside of the DE10 Nano board. Obviously that's not what we call it for the clones, that's just what I always say. And as far as compatibility with cores, as far as performance is concerned, between installing your own RAM on the headers or soldering on the bottom of the board, there isn't any difference whatsoever. So before you leave that comment asking if there's going to be any sort of performance gains or losses based on this, it should do exactly the same thing. It is just an easier thing to build, it's lower profile, and then you don't have to worry about your customers putting the RAM on themselves. But it looks like mid-May is when that stock is going to come up, so definitely set a reminder for yourself. I want you to get one if you haven't gotten one yet. And as far as the UI is concerned, Taki Udon did update some previews as well of it running on a CRT television. Now this is probably just temp art, I have no idea if this is final or not, but it does seem to be loading very quickly. If you just scroll through and stop on anything, the artwork pops up very quickly, and that is nice. And this is all just loading from the SD card, and of course it is a fork of the MiSTer operating system in and of itself, because the UI you have right now, you'd have to fork that and basically just make your own MiSTer operating system with probably like 98% of the underlying code installed, and then just updating how you actually interact on the UI elements. And the nice thing is, I'll show you in a bit, but Taki Udon has said that this is going to be portable to other MiSTer builds as well when they get it done. And you'll see here another example of the actual UI, and he says it's a little jank right now, this is all work in progress, so it may change, you never know. But it's fun to get a look behind the scenes of how this is actually shaping up, and I do really love some of the icons here. That little 16-bit Super Nintendo in the top left-hand corner I think looks spectacular. I like the box art in there as well. I can't say I love the colorways for all of these icons, but Taki has mentioned that a lot of this is going to be changeable by the end user when this is actually out on the SuperStation One, so hopefully we'll be able to bring our own artwork over and maybe change some of the colors. But again, he said very plainly it's a little bit jank, it's a little bit work in progress, so it's completely subject to change. But this is what the current UI is looking like right now, just as a test, and it is going to be fun to have a new UI on MiSTer FPGA. Now granted, I am of the thought that the current UI we have is perfectly fine, and honestly really doesn't need to change. That's not to say that I don't appreciate this and won't use it, I definitely will, but I know a lot of people out there want a new UI that just looks a little bit more fun, especially when people are over friends that have never used a MiSTer FPGA before, so it seems a little less intimidating, because even though the UI we currently have does the job and does it well. I understand that it looks a little bit technical and people might be scared off just a little bit as far as how it actually operates. We've seen so many different looks at the UI, and it'll be fun to see how this actually ends up landing, and this is one of the hardest things would be, to my imagination at least. Mechanical engineering, laying up the PCB, those are very technical things. They work or they don't work, but designing user interfaces, choosing colors, graphics, artworks, and placements, that is something that really does take a lot of time to hone in on and get right, but it seems like it's going well so far. And I do appreciate that that is kind of just being shown off as revisions. It really does get the community involved. They can provide feedback, they can talk about it, and it kind of just seems like a group effort here to try to get a new UI on MiSTer FPGA, and we'll hopefully see that maybe this fall. And the best part is people have asked, and Taki and Remake have confirmed, all of this UI code is going to be open source, like pretty much everything in MiSTer FPGA is. So if you want to put it onto a different piece of hardware, you're going to be able to do that, because MiSTer FPGA is an open project, and basically everyone who makes cores outside of a few people publishes their source code when they have it. Now additionally, we do have another look at the overall internals of the SuperStation One, definitely shaping up, and we can really go over a lot of what we see here. The nice thing is you'll see there is a fan in the middle of that PCB, and that's going to be an option when it actually ships to add that on. And the nice thing is everything has been designed with modularity in mind. If that snack port goes bad somehow, it's going to be user replaceable along with a lot of the other parts, and I really do appreciate that. It keeps down on e-waste if something does go wrong. While we don't anticipate anything really going wrong with this, MiSTer Pi has been extremely reliable. The nice thing about a triple stack is if for some reason the USB hub decides to quit on you one day, you just unplug it and plug a new one in, and you're off to the races again, versus it being hard soldered on where it isn't user replaceable. Additionally, the dock has seen some changes as well. There's two different screws at the corners to help secure it to the SuperStation One. There also seems to be a plastic channel for the connector, probably just to ease in the fit when you actually install it. It has a guidepost right there. And you'll see around the back it still has that USB-C in and out, and it still has the S-Video port as well. So this definitely feels like it's getting close to the end of the actual mechanical engineering and design process, and hopefully soon we'll see some images of some test cases. But plastics work is not easy. Trust me, I worked in it in the past, and you do not make the mold until you're confident you are done with your design. Because even though I'm sure prices have changed, when I used to work in this at Burton Snowboards, when we would do sunglasses or goggles, a mold for a new line of goggles would be something in excess of $250,000. So you might go through 5, 10, 15, 50, even 100 design revisions, working in clay, working in plastic, even working in wood sometimes, so that you know the object that you are making is ready to go to that molding process. Because you do not want to try to adjust the mold once you actually have it made. It's going to cost you time and it's going to cost you money. So I appreciate that we've seen all of the different revisions of the case and why they're changing and the reasons for such. It's one of those things. I love the openness of this project. You basically get to see the entire design process along for the ride, and it is great that the SuperStation One's going to have every single video format included. Leave me a comment down below and tell me what your preferred analog video choice is on MiSTer FPGA. For me, it's definitely RGB, but from composite to component to S-Video to VGA to RGB, it's going to have absolutely everything, and of course an HDMI port as well if you're just going to go pure digital. I just love that it has the capability to do that, just like every other MiSTer FPGA stack. And again, I do like the UI here. It is simple enough to look clean and concise and not too cluttered, but it does have a little bit more artistic flair, and I really do enjoy these little 8-bit style icons, because the MiSTer UI right now is very basic, but it gets the job done. So adding in a little bit more visual flair while still keeping the ease of use intact, I think is a really good design aesthetic. And hopefully, I know we can adjust some of these colors. I want to dial in some video game esoterica colors, some pink, some yellows, and some blues, so I can kind of personalize a SuperStation to what I would like it to look like. And that is the nice thing. It seems like there's going to be the ability for customers when they pick these things up and have them in front of them to be able to adjust some of the colors. That way they can kind of get the look they want. It might not be every color under the sun, but I'm sure there will be a decent amount. And somebody asked in the comments, why not just use 4 magnets on the corners to latch the SuperStation One to the dock? And Taki says magnets increase shipping fees, and that is true. There's some things, if you have to ship them, it's going to cost more because they have to be shipped a specific way. Think about lithium-ion batteries and getting that little sticker on your box that says contains lithium-ion batteries. When you ship certain things, it's one of those items you just have to pay a little bit more to get it done. But if you're still one of those people out there that haven't picked up a MiSTer Pi triple stack yet and you do want one, it looks like it's going to be right around May 16th for this month. So I'd set a reminder on your phone for May 15th and just keep checking. That way you can grab a MiSTer Pi if you don't have one already. And obviously the next time there's more updates, I'll run more videos. I just want to talk about all the fun that's going on with MiSTer MiSTer FPGA and help the people that still want a MiSTer Pi out, because I understand you might not have the time to read Twitter all day long for updates like I do, and even I don't have that much time these days. But I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.